Hey guys, Danny here at Squirrel's Woodshop, and today we're going to try to tackle another item on the daddy-do list. Now, if you missed the first one, that's okay. You can go back and check it out. It's a short that we made. But today, we're going for the metal hanger. Now, when researching metal hangers, we went straight to Etsy. And my wife was overwhelmed with all of the options that they had. You can basically just make whatever you want to make, and they had it. But she ended up drawing her own, and this is my blueprint. She even made it to scale for me. So with the print in hand, we went straight to cutting. First, we ended up cutting the frame out, and we made sure we got all the right measurements exactly the way we needed them. Now, you remember when I said that print was to scale? Well, let's just give it a test, see how it goes. And we just line it up there like so. Looking good. Bring it in a little bit. Yeah, we're off. But it ain't too bad. So we took it right back over and chopped off just a little bit. No one will ever know. And is it really a mess up if you can fix it? I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna take these freshly cut, non-mistakenly measured pieces over and just hit them with the sander. And then we're gonna just kind of knock the edges off with some 220 sandpaper. This should help us out when we put it together, and we don't have to get in there and try to weasel that stuff in there and sand the edges down. Huh, that's good thinking. I actually thought ahead that time. But there's one thing that I really thought that I was doing good at. I was gonna put these spacers in there, not glue them in, and just have them spaced out exactly the way I needed to. And I thought it was a pretty good idea. It seemed to work just like we needed it to. However, this is kind of where it all went to pieces. You see, I thought I was just going to put them in the clamps, have the clamps on the bottom, supporting everything. And it looks okay right there until the glue up starts. And then that thing just started going every which way. I couldn't get it to stay inside those clamps for nothing. Tighten them up, squeeze them, get the glue. Everything was a mess. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clamps? Yeah, I think there's a better way to do it. Luckily, I had a chance to redeem myself because my son also wanted a metal hanger. Glue up, take 2. Now this is a much simpler glue up. We still have the same spacers in the middle, but we only have 3 clamps this time. Little tappy tappy, squeeze in the top, and it's done. Wow, now that was a lot better. Oh, and don't forget about the Christmas wrapping paper. Got to have that, that's a must. Clean up the excess glue, and that one's done. Whew, a lot better. Now it's time to make the interior pieces. First, we're gonna strip down this here Osage orange, or commonly referred to as horse apple. And then we're just gonna take the pieces that were on the print, cut them out, and glue them on the wood. Now you can cut these pieces out using a jigsaw, but we just so happen to have this brand new DeWalt scroll saw in the shop. and it seemed like the perfect opportunity to give it a try. So we slapped a new blade on this rig, fired her up, and started cutting. And let me tell you, compared to the old scroll saw we had, this thing is the cat's meow. I mean, she purred like a kitten. No problem whatsoever. And we ran through several different woods with it. We used the horse apple, the maple, the poplar, the spalted maple, and even some cherry. And didn't have the first bit of trouble. Now, like I said, this is a daddy do list. And I'm kind of torn because this was created by my 8-year-old baby girl, who I hope will stay little forever. But chances are she's gonna grow up and she's gonna marry some young man. And for this young man, I don't know if I need to say I'm sorry or you're welcome. Because if she's already making lists at 8 years old, can you imagine the honey-do list that this young man's gonna receive? I mean, she's gonna be a master at it before she can drive. Well, that's a scary thought, her driving. Whew. But on the other hand, maybe she will have acquired the understanding that lists are easy to make, but to actually finish a job or a project that's on the list takes time and patience and possibly a few reminders here and there. But eventually, it'll get done. And so with that, young man that I hope I don't have to meet for a few years, I'm sorry, you're welcome. Now, if you've made it this far, thank you. And as a small channel, your subscription and like would mean the world to us. But even more than that, a comment of what you're liking or what you're not liking, because we want to be able to improve. And the only way I know to improve is to learn from your mistakes. And who better to ask our mistakes than those that are watching? So if you could, just go ahead and leave a comment telling us what you liked or what you disliked, and subscribe. That way you can keep track of us to make sure we're improving. Now back over here at the metal hangers, we got everything cut out, sanded down. Now we're gonna put a little Titebond glue on the back, smeared with the finger, of course. Lay it down. Make sure it's somewhat close. And add some weight. That ought to do. After the glue hardened up a little bit, we flipped them over, removed all that unwanted glue, and then it was time to start finishing up the interior pieces. I knew the sign was going to be the hardest part because I didn't know how I was going to hang the two pieces that went on the inside of the sign that are just free airing right now. And I need to come up with a way where they're not free. So we ended up taking some electrical wire and stripping it down, and we robbed one of the solid 14 gauge copper wires out of it. Now this was sturdy enough to hold everything up, and it was flexible enough to move it in and out of them holes. Here we're just drilling holes through the top, the two middle pieces, and the bottom. That way we can take that electrical wire and run right through it all. That should hold everything in place. And once we had the holes drilled, it was time to put it together. We're going to start on this side and just kind of push the wire right through there, as you can see. Now, in times like this, you got to kind of improvise. you see that wire is not wanting to go. Luckily I had my square readily available and I was able to use it to square it up a little bit. And then finished it up with some good old wire strippers. Since the hard part was over, the rest of it just kind of fell together. Well, sort of. We kind of put it together just to see what it's going to look like. And we didn't like it. You see those pieces right there? It just seemed like it was cluttering it up a little bit. It was back to the drawing board. And drawing board, I mean, I asked my wife what she wanted to do. And she decided what I was thinking the whole time is just to take them out. So we did. But to create some dimensions on it, I went ahead and glued some pieces on the back to make it look like the tree and the sign were floating and give it more of a 3D effect. Now with all the parts glued down and all that glue cleaned up, it was time to put some clear coat on. We're going to be using some polyacrylic semi-gloss. We're going to start with the back and then we'll flip it over and hit the front. Now I'm going to be using a patent pending penguin shuffle technique. As you can see, you just kind of rock side to side like a penguin as you're spraying, and it lays down the perfect amount of coverage for your clear coat. After it was nice and dry, we were able to hang them. And this is the final product. As you can see, she's already got some metals on there, and I think it turned out pretty good. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching.